Jericho Movie Guys. I'm Clint Chaffer, and this is my buddy Chad Weeks.
And we're a couple guys who like movies and like to talk about movies. Clint, who we got on the show tonight?
We got our old friend John Wesley Norton back with us. John, how you been, man?
Hello,
Been
guys.
too long.
Doing great. You know, I'm back from fresh out of COVID and feeling good. Feeling great.
Yeah.
John, I think last time we left off, we were sitting there talking, and I think you were getting ready to go on another project. And I also believe you're teaching at the school as well, right?
Yeah. I still teach at the Illinois Media School. I teach film there, which is a great resource because the students we often have a lot of student help on these films, which helps me, it helps them. So it's a good symbiotic relationship, the school and the filmmaking, And I think the film you're talking about was called The Dream Ledger, which is the one I just started, I think, after you guys, we talked last. And that's in post. I think the premiere date is in March. So I'll be sure to keep everybody updated on that. But it's looking pretty darn good, I must say.
Well, we would love to screen that too. So
Absolutely.
So when I hear you say that, the class is a good resource, what I'm hearing is like maybe some good cheap labor when it comes to shooting a film.
Yeah, it's that's a double-edged sword because you definitely have extra hands on set, of course, right? But you're also having to teach while you go, which it's a little bit different working with people who actually know what they're doing and people who are just learning what to do. So it is. I love the students. They're all, it's the enthusiasm that really helps.
Absolutely. I don't think it's quite on our agenda, but what tell us a little bit about the Dream Ledger. Can you give us like a few plot points on that one and kind of the rundown on it, if you don't mind?
It's a people go to the woods kind of movie. Not really a cabin, but a old abandoned motel. See, I'd driven by this old motel for years, and I knew that they weren't using it for anything. And I had talked to my buddy Bob, who lives out there, and I said, "Hey, do you know who owns that old motel out there on the highway?" And he said, "Yeah, my buddy owns it." And I said, "Oh, that's great," because I love hearing that, right?
Yeah.
"Oh, but he sold it." And I said, "Oh, damn." And he said, "Yeah, but he just sold it to another buddy of mine." I'm like, "What are you doing to me? Can we use it?" So we were able to use this entire closed down motel, dress it any way we want, mess it up if we wanted to. We destroyed several rooms and set things on fire. And it's a good lesson for independent filmmakers. Sometimes it's better to find a great location and then build a story around it.
That's got to be a dream come true for you, though. Like to have a place that is set up like that, and you can just do whatever you want on it. You don't have to worry about if you use a regular hotel, you have to be real careful. You couldn't set a fire in that hotel, but with this one, you can just do whatever you want. That's awesome.
It was pretty great. I don't run into those situations very often, so I'm very thankful that we got to do that. And I really like the movie too. I think the movie's going to turn out really great. So. Good,
real good. I imagine that comes a lot is the seeing the different seeing a location and then building off of that and saying that's where the story's going to come from, is that location. I imagine that's how your mind works, I guess is what I was saying.
I went a couple times, took pictures of everything, and then developed the story around the locations that were in the and then of course we used the same bar that we used in Fort Hannah, actually.
Very cool.
Nice.
So it was still a long, arduous shoot. All right, we shot for, I want to say 5 weeks or something like that. So it was a long shoot, but it was great, and we did it pretty cheap too. So
that's the key ingredient there.
How many folks would you have involved in like a 5-week shoot like that? I mean, how many people are actually on set when you're doing that?
So we had the cast, of course, which is, I want to say there was a 5-person core cast, and then there were people, maybe like 5 people who filtered in and out. And then we had, of course, the camera department, I think was 3 people. The gaffing department was 3 people. 2 people, sound 1 person. And we had assistant director. So I'm gonna say the crew was maybe 7, and the cast was probably 10, something like that. So
Okay.
17 people in all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a lot of people to keep going.
Did Clint tell you that he's a recent pilot actor? He just shot a pilot here not too long ago.
No kidding.
Yeah. Moving on up right here.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Was it like a web series? What was it for?
No, it's actually a TV show pilot. A friend of mine wrote a script, and they ended up shooting it up in Bayfield, Wisconsin. So ran up, and I was Sheriff Doug Lemke. So did my best sheriff impersonation, but it's pretty cool. So yeah, it's going into post now, and then they're gonna try shopping it around.
It's funny because I just finished another film called The Empty Church. It's a faith-based film that I just finished. And we had the sheriff in that film was played by the original sheriff in the original Friday the 13th movie.
Oh, wow.
Ron Milkey.
Really?
Yeah, and so Ron, I'm going to have him as a guest on my podcast, and we're going to talk about the festival circuit or this convention circuit because he's been doing it ever since, And I just find it. I think fandom is fascinating.
Absolutely.
And the fact that he was in that movie so long ago, he's always acted his entire career, of course, but he's still known for that one role, and he still gets invited to all these conventions because he played the sheriff in Friday the 13th. So, yeah, it was really cool. He was a gentleman, really nice guy, but when you said sheriff, that reminded me of that, it was... Yeah.
On that fandom topic, Clint and I, we went to a Comic-Con up in Chicago, the whatever they call it now. And this is when The Walking Dead was getting real hot, and they had the cast of The Walking Dead up there. They had a lot of those people, but they had a center stage section for that. You remember that little girl in like the first episode, I think she's like carrying a teddy bear or something like that. She dies pretty quickly. Like she has a half an episode, but everybody was lined up to get their picture taken with this little zombie girl that, I don't know if she's ever done anything since, but it was such a huge ordeal. Crazy. Fandom is crazy.
Exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. But it's interesting, these things are fans are. We didn't when I was really young. This was not Trekkies were the only thing going.
Yeah,
it was like that, But now it seems like everything's got a big fan base, So I think it's cool. It's exciting. It's exciting for them. I like meetings, the people too, and it's fun. I like conventions. So
absolutely.
I think I'm going to start doing them next year. I've got a lot of friends who do it, and they're trying to get me to do it. So I may do it. We'll see.
You ought to.
That'd be really cool.
They're a blast. I have an absolute blast at them. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, we're sitting here talking about, some scary movies. I mean, an old rundown motel. I mean, there's nothing more creepy than that, and a sheriff in Friday the 13th. I think this is just a great segue into our first section here, which I would like to run through the top 10 movies based on science. Now, I'm going to pause and let everybody roll their eyes here real quick on this.
Have you heard about this, though, John? Like, I've heard of this list, and I think I've seen it, but it's basically just, like, they studied a whole bunch of different, like, metrics. Clint, do you have those metrics that they did?
I have all the metrics for each one of these, and so basically, here's what it is. It's a resting BPM, resting heart rate, the movie heart rate, what the average was through the movie, the percentage difference, and then the highest heart rate in this movie.
All right.
So here we go.
Let the games begin.
With no further ado. And there's some of these, of course. I'm not a scary movie guy, so I'm leaning on you guys as the experts here in this episode. I'm just going to drive this ship. So here we go.
I think I've seen this list, and if I'm not mistaken, I think there's at least two absolutely huge omissions that we'll get to, but we'll see if they're on here first.
Great.
All right. So coming in at number 10 from 2015, The Visit.
That's the M. Night
This
Shyamalan
is a
one, right?
M. Night Shyamalan. Yep, that is correct.
I just added it to my list for this month, but I have not seen it.
Well, so that one had a resting heart rate of 65, and the movie heart rate of 79, and the highest heart rate in that movie was 100.
Are these just like overweight people that they got? I mean, the visit was fine. I mean, it's weird that it's on a top 10 list like this. It's strange. I think Signs is actually scarier than
in my opinion, that is the scariest M. Night Shyamalan film. Like the little things in there, that kid, or when the alien walks. The kids are in the down in Mexico. The kids are watching out that window, and you just see like the foot, or it just walks into the picture. That's terrifying. Terrifying.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I saw The Visit as just an experiment. Because that's the found footage movie, right?
I thought that was the one where they like go into their grandma's house or something like that.
Yeah,
it might be found footage.
Yeah.
Oh, it really is. Okay, I had no clue.
Yeah. So I just thought it was a Shyamalan experiment because everybody was experimenting with that format.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I thought it is good. I'm not saying it's not good. It's just weird that it's on a top 10 list for overweight horror lovers.
Well, number 9 falls in line a little bit better with the scary movie side, and that is The Descent.
Oh, okay. So it's not an omission because, in my opinion, The Descent is the scariest movie of all time.
Yeah,
but
The Descent's pretty good. Yeah,
the darkness, those tight quarters. It is terrifying to me. Terrifying movie, and it's beautiful.
I agree with that because it's not only the creatures, it's the claustrophobia.
Exactly.
Because I just watched a movie the other night called As Above, So Below. I've been watching horror movies.
Yeah.
And the scariest part of this film was because these guys all these people are in the catacombs underneath France, right?
Yep.
And there's this one part where this guy's crawling through this narrow tunnel with bones all over, and he gets stuck, and it takes a while. And I'm thinking, man, I don't know if I can watch this.
Yeah.
Because some people just cannot handle that kind of close quarter being confined, and I think maybe The Descent has a little bit of that.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was a kid, I used to panic if I'd take my shirt off and get my arm stuck above my head. I would freak out. so cave diving's out for me.
I can't hardly watch any of those. I mean, The Descent I've seen, but man, I'm in that boat, John. I mean, when you get into those, like when someone's crawling and like they literally barely have enough room to get their head like in wherever they're climbing. No way, man. No way.
Yeah.
Stay above ground.
I like these things, but I liked his first movie more, which was Dog Soldiers.
Okay, Dog Soldiers. That's another one that not many people have heard of. That one. That's a solid movie.
It's a lot of people don't know it, but it's one of my favorite werewolf movies. Now that you say that,
yeah,
but The Descent's good. It's probably on this list for good reason. The Descent's a good movie for sure.
So the resting heart rate on all these is the same at 65. So the movie had 79, so a difference of 14, and the highest rate on this, the last one was only 100. This went all the way up to 122, probably back to that like claustrophobia aspect. So
at the highest point, it was 122.
Yep, 122.
Yeah.
All right, number 8 is I've never heard of this, the Babadook.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
John, I'm ashamed, but I've never seen the Babadook, and I know that it's a classic, and I know that everybody loves it.
I mean, I don't know if it's a classic, but it falls in line with something like The Conjuring or something like that. It's that style, that PG-13 kind of eerie thing, and it is good. It is good. Yeah, I'm not surprised it's on the list. Sure.
Yeah,
a budget of only $2 million, by the way.
Yeah, it's not a big movie, but it's good though.
My parents.
So that went up to. Oh, go ahead.
I said my parents watched that, and they told me not to even worry about watching it.
So that went up to 80 beats per minute, and then the highest was 116. Coming in at number 7, The Conjuring 2.
Why 2?
Conjuring 2.
I don't know.
I mean, the Conjuring series just blurs together for me. I remember the first one relatively well, but I don't think I can see the difference in 2?
The Conjuring 2 is the one that introduces the nun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Not the one that
and
because then she had her own spin-off and I thought the spin-off was terrible. But
because the first, I'm pretty sure that's the one that had the nun, and that one
okay.
is. I like the Conjuring movies. I think they're well done.
For sure. Very well.
You know, yeah.
So that one had a average rate of 80 beats per minute, and then the highest was 120. And a fun fact about that movie, it had a featured song of Can't Help Falling in Love. Just a beautiful song for a scary movie.
Really? It's our wedding song.
Put you up. Yeah. I'm almost positive that's the one with the new nun, and that one is scary. They're all good. I mean, that whole new genre of PG-13 horror with Insidious and what's the other one? Just there's just a bunch of them that are in that pocket. And
I think there's 9 of them in the Conjuring series now.
Yeah, I would expect that to peak higher because isn't there a scene in there where the nun pops up out of nowhere or something like that? And it's a jump scare, but it's also like a well done jump scare. I remember that there was a really scary scene in there with that nun. I would expect the peak to be higher.
Yeah, I think to me the scariest part of the movie is when they know the nun picture is in the dark and you can barely see the nun standing there and you can barely see it. You really have to strain to see it and you don't know if it's a picture or if it's her, and it's pretty disturbing the way they did it.
Yeah.
And I can't argue with that. That's good. It's a good pick.
Absolutely.
When you're watching movies like that, John, and you talk about like that scene, do you start thinking about like how they shot it?
Yeah, I do, and I try not to. I mean, I really try not to. I just can't help it, though. I mean, it's because as I'm watching a film, and if something's working on me, I ask myself why it's working on me.
Yeah.
But of course, if a movie's really good, then no. If you're sucked into the movie, but if I watch a movie like again, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that makes sense.
I talking to guys like you and some of the film creators here, I get a little bit of that as well, where it's like you see a certain scene, it's like, I wonder how they did that, because that's a really cool, like I think of Evil Dead where they come over the top of his head, and it's like that just looks like a really cool shot there. I like that. So yeah, and I know that one's pretty modestly done. So
real quick, this is the way that it was explained to me, and I like this analogy. So anyone likes to go for a walk in the woods, right? Everybody likes to get out in nature and walk a trail and be out there, and it's great, and that's awesome. Everybody can have a great time in the woods, but how much richer is your experience if you're walking through the woods and you know the names of the trees?
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of the way it is. If you know how if you're in the industry, you can watch things a little bit differently, and in some ways, it's kind of enriching, to be honest. Because you start talking about things like subtext, and you just look a little deeper, I think, sometimes.
Yeah. Appreciation for it in general.
Yeah.
That's what on that same line, John, a good friend of ours, Matt Zimmerman, was an offensive lineman in college, and him and I lived together for a little while, and we'd watch football, and he watches football differently than I do because he's watching the offensive line. And when he started explaining it, it was just he was watching an entirely different game than I was watching.
Yeah. He gets so excited about a pulling guard.
I get that. Yeah. I just one more real quick. When I watched, when I saw 2012 in the theater, I don't like publicly saying bad things about other people's work, but I did not like 2012, right? There's all kinds of weird things. But there was a woman sitting down the aisle from me who looked like she was ready to pass out. She was so excited. She was on the edge of her seat the whole time. And she's just like, oh, like this. And so in that case, she was watching a different movie than I was. So you do watch different movies, even if it's the same movie.
Absolutely. And the thing is, like, I agree with you completely, John, in situations like, because you never want to discount somebody that likes something, even though if you think that's stupid and it is so, whatever. But I don't want to ever hate on somebody for liking what they like, and
Right.
I get that.
No. because I like some really stupid stuff.
Yeah, same.
Whatever.
All right, coming in at number 6, It Follows.
Oh,
100%. 100%. I just watched that 3 nights ago. Again.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
okay. I love that movie. A lot of like well done jump scares. Incredible plot. Like, it's great movie, top to bottom.
Yeah, it deserved the attention that it got, for sure.
Yeah. That slow walking factor. Like there's something cool about that build up that they have. You know, nothing's running at you. It's just walking.
Yeah. No, I agree with that 100%. That is an effective movie for sure.
For sure.
So surprising on the highest heart rate here. So it had an 81 for the average, but the highest rate was only 93. So it's the lowest.
I can only
on the
think
list.
of one good jump scare, and that's later on in the movie. But I think that it's just a nerve wracking film throughout the entirety of it. Like I said, it's a slow burn. Where you've just got something ominous constantly after you, and it wears you out, I guess.
All right, number 5, Paranormal Activity.
You knew this would be on the list.
I was hoping this would be on the list. I like talking about this movie. I just like the found footage genre. You know,
Same.
I think it's new and it's not as fresh as it was, but you know, I think when Blair Witch came out, it really changed things in a big way, and Paranormal Activity is kind of because of that success, you know. And I don't know if I've ever seen a movie where I leaned forward in my seat as much as that one, because of the pacing and the long segments where nothing happens.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just sitting there and you're leaning forward and you're like, then something happens, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's the anticipation, and you know it's coming. You know something's coming, but you just you don't know when. And then when it happens, it's like, dang, you still got me.
I think that movie deserves all the attention that it get. The dude only spent like $13,000 on it. You know?
Okay, that's what I was just getting ready to say. I didn't know if this was a typo or not here, John, but I'm glad you just said that, because this said it had a budget of $15,000, and the box office was nearly $200 million, 193.4.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this too. You know, the ending shot of the movie, the very end, okay, was not the original ending. That was something that they added later. All right. Because it was a bigger ending, right? You had to have that. You know,
for sure.
Talking about one shot, right? And the person who suggested it was Steven Spielberg, of all people.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, he says, you know, I think this is the way you should end it. So they reshot it. So they did shoot that one section, that one shot at the very end. You know how much it cost them? $300,000.
Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, wow.
Yepers.
Do you remember the marketing on this movie? Wasn't this the one where they were like, they didn't show any clips of the movie, but they showed like audience reactions to the movie?
That's right. I remember that.
I think this is the movie that they did that with, but maybe I'm wrong.
It was brilliant. No, it was that one. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. So number 5, that is?
What's that?
Number 5.
So number
that was
five?
number 5.
Yeah,
It was
that's not bad.
5. No, it's a good movie. It's not nothing we've said is on my list so far, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that one had an average rate of 82, and then the highest was 127.
Mm.
So definitely had a high one.
So that's the highest high we've had, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, 127, that's the record.
All right, number 4. Now, number 4, I have seen on other lists as one of the like top scary movies of all time. I'd love to get everybody's thought on this. I have not seen it, so but Hereditary.
Hereditary?
Yeah.
I have not seen this either. I've been wanting to see it, but I have not seen it. I hear it's really good.
It's an A24 film, and it's just a good film in general, right? I mean, like just a great film in general. It's got a lot of those slow build-ups, and it makes you feel uneasy throughout it. I never thought that like there was a really terrifying factor to it. That I never got that feeling, but I did get the uneasiness. And there's one scene in there, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but anybody that's seen it knows when I just say, well, there's one scene, they know exactly what I'm talking about. It's bonkers. It's just one of those I'm like, oh my god, and yeah, it's you completely freak out for a matter of like 5 minutes before, and you can't even believe what's happening. But yeah,
All right.
it's a great movie.
I will watch it. I just haven't got around to it.
You should. It's, and like I said, it's just overall, but I just can't figure out, like, I've never thought it was overly scary or anything. Just a really good movie and really unsettling.
Cool.
So this one had an average of 83, and the highest was 109.
Yeah, so it never even, I don't think there's any big jump scares in there, nothing to really escalate things, just a slow burn and make you uncomfortable.
Is this list organized by heart rate, or what is this list organized by?
I don't know how they're getting to
So it's not the highest heart rate, it's the movie average. So we keep creeping up in movie average, the average heart rate throughout the entire movie. Okay, now we are at the top 3. So coming in at number 3 is The Conjuring 1.
Okay, well, naturally, because yeah. I mean, we've kind of exhausted all the Conjuring stuff here, but I'm surprised that Conjuring 2 was on here. Now that Conjuring 1 is on here, it's like, okay, now I get it.
I think this list skews too modern.
Yeah.
These are all fairly recent films, which is fine.
Well, so here's when I heard about this list, one of the thoughts that I had was the fact that, if you invited somebody that likes scary movies to one of these watch things, they've probably seen The Blair Witch Project. They've already seen a lot of these movies, so they're probably not really terrified by them anymore because they've seen it or they've heard about it or they know it's coming up. If you watch movies at all, you know a lot of these classic stories. So that I think that you'd have to have a little bit of a recency bias just to pull one over on the audience, I guess.
Okay, Chad. Whatever you say, man.
John's not sold on that explanation at all.
I'm sure that it's easier to do this in the with movies regularly, but yeah, I get it. But
touche.
Well, they're not going to get any. They're going to stay in the same time frame. So
yeah.
All right, cool.
All right, so that one had a movie average of 85 with a difference of 20. And then the highest was 129. So we just hit a new high. So coming in at number 2, Insidious.
Yeah. I bet this has got the new high, too, because isn't that the one with the red-faced guy that pops up and just totally terrifies you for...
Yeah, I think James Wan did that, too. This is like a James Wan list.
This is James Wan. Yep.
Yeah.
He did The Conjuring, too?
He did The Conjuring.
Yeah.
I think he did Conjuring, too.
He's got it.
I mean, his first movie was Saw, And,
wow.
Yeah.
I never even thought about that.
I'm telling you, if you looked up his filmography, you'd be like totally impressed by what this guy's. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if he's got 9 Conjuring films and the Insidious franchise, I mean that's pretty good anyway. So I'm sure he didn't direct all those Conjuring ones.
No, but he's done a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did do 1 and 2, so that is and Insidious here. So Insidious had a average rate of 86 with a difference of 21, and the highest is the list high of 133.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's that scene with the red-faced guy that pops up out of nowhere. Yeah. It's got to be. Isn't that the right movie? I'm thinking of the right movie, right? The Conjuring and Insidious kind of run together for me, but...
Yeah, and there's another one, too, another series that is Sinister? Is that right? No, that's not it.
And that's number 1.
Okay, I'm thinking of Sinister, I think.
Okay, number one overall is Sinister. And that one has a average of 86 with a difference with a big So that was I had about the same difference as Insidious, and then the highest rate on that was 131. So I'm not sure why Sinister would be higher. Yeah, but that's how they have it. So
who directed it?
so that would have been Scott Derrickson.
Okay. All right, cool. I'm sure James Wan had his finger in it somewhere, though, because that dude.
Yeah, and I don't. So now the red-faced guy, it's like I don't know which one he's in, whether it's Insidious or Sinister, because those, I mean, they have pretty much the same name. Tough call there.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, John. I think that we just say the hell with science, and we need a true experts top 10 list. We're just, here this list right here. This is just going. We're done with that list. We're going with the real list, the number one top 10 list in the world, straight from John's mouth here. So, John, take us through your top 10 list.
All right. So so funny. Nothing against any of those. I think those are great. I mean, and there are some actually legitimate ones there that'll probably stand the test of time, and go on to be classics for sure. My list is from basically the 70s and 80s, almost all of it.
Before you do your list, John, I want to take a guess that I'm going to know and have seen, I'm going to say 30% of your list.
You've seen all these. I guarantee.
Okay, all right.
Well, this is what I did. I did it because you guys mentioned maybe a top 5. So I did a top 5, then I did a secondary top 5, and then I did 5 that aren't technically horror movies, but they are horror movies.
All right. I love it.
Love it.
All right, and I did this kind of these each 5 in order of release date.
Okay.
So my first choice is 1978. It's got to be Halloween, right?
Clint, tell them what you think about that movie.
I'll keep my opinions to myself.
Clint thinks that movie's a comedy, John.
I think it's a comedy. So
Halloween, the first Halloween?
Yeah.
The first Halloween, just, man, I think I literally chuckled. Like, him just standing there, like, behind the bushes, like, just, like, creepily watching, like, it actually made me laugh more than it did scare me.
Clint watched it a lot later in life, though, too, so.
Yeah. This is only, like, a couple years ago, so.
It's hard to watch things. It's hard to judge things out of their time,
Yep.
1978. I mean, Halloween is very influential on cinema, particularly horror films. There's no slasher genre without Halloween because of its success.
Yeah.
Now, if it would have failed, things would have been different, but it didn't fail.
Yeah.
Right? It was a huge hit. And that's why. And you can't, I mean, if you look at John Carpenter directed the hell out of that thing, and Dean Cundy's cinematography is just off the wall. It's so good. And then the music, of course, you can't touch the music.
Oh, the music, yeah.
So, I mean, that's mine, and it's not necessarily a movie that I watch all the time. I have an appreciation for it.
So, let me ask you this, John. How do you feel about Rob Zombie's version of it?
I don't know. I've seen them.
Yeah. So the first one of Rob Zombie, the first one of Rob Zombie's, I absolutely loved it. I thought it did such a good job. I like just there was a little bit, it dove into the kid factor of it more. I don't know. I liked it a lot. The second one I couldn't stand it. I couldn't hardly get through it. It was so bad. But that first one I really, really liked.
I think I would have liked the first one more if it wasn't a Halloween movie and it was something original.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's not bad. I like the first part better than the second part when it became the actual remake of Halloween. I really like the first bit, so I don't know. Well, anyway, that's my choice for 78, and these aren't like best to worst. This is by release date.
Yep.
1979. This one's got to be probably the favorite on the list. Phantasm. Anyone seen Phantasm?
No, I don't. I can't even think I've ever heard of Phantasm. And this is this is a pure horror movie, right?
Phantasm, it's great. It's like a sci-fi horror movie, but I've since become friends with some of the cast of this thing, and it's just a great film. And Don Coscarelli is the director, and he used some really great independent film tricks in the thing to save money and whatnot. It's just I would, if I were you guys, I'd put this on your list to watch. All right, Phantasm.
Absolutely.
I just wrote it down.
When I rewatch this, I'll put it on my list. So for sure.
Yeah. Now it might not play as well today, but you got to remember that Don Coscarelli was like 22 years old when he made this thing. All right, so
Yeah.
and it's a big sprawling film. So anyway, that's it. 1981, The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I like Evil Dead 2 just fine. I like it just fine. It's kind of a horror comedy thing, but I like my horror a little bit less diluted. So I think the first one has got a tone that's a lot more, vicious and disturbing than part 2 with all its jokes and its slapstick.
Yeah.
No, I watched that whole series, and I will 100% agree that number 1 was by far the best one out of all of them, in my opinion.
It's a different tone for sure. It's not playing around. It's meant to be a horror movie, and that's it. Not the Three Stooges, kind of thing with Bruce Campbell slapping himself in the face and all that. That's bad. I like him,
Yeah.
But the first one, it's so gritty and cheap and grimy. I love it.
Yeah. My wife and I we watched. I mean, I'd seen them before, but she hadn't. So we were rewatching them, kind of in anticipation for this, because Boomstick Studios. I knew that you were that was going to be on your list somewhere. But I don't love Evil Dead 1. I'm completely the opposite. Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead 1 for me. That's my order. I love Army of Darkness. I think it's awesome
and they are better movies. I mean, they
Okay.
are. They're better movies. But horror movies, there's something about the first one. I guess I just have an appreciation for the guerrilla style that it was shot on, and Sam Raimi was so creative in the thing, and I don't know. I just like number 1. I just like it.
And I totally get the appreciation factor for it too, because I appreciate the hell out of it for sure. I know how cool it is and all that stuff. It's not for me. I like it when Bruce Campbell kind of comes into his own, in my opinion, in Evil Dead 2. And I kept going. I'm like, this reminds me a little bit of Briscoe County Jr. I don't know if you ever watched that show, but when I was a kid, that was a pretty big deal. And I remember, Bruce, that was Bruce Campbell. So I could see more of him in that. I guess it just seemed more relatable to me. But again, these are movies that I watched later in life. So
it's great. And Army of Darkness, I love Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
I probably seen it 12 times, So in 1982, all of these are like late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
And 82 is Creepshow.
Oh my God! Literally last night, I watched I watched this movie when I was a kid, because I remember the Stephen King one where he finds that meteor, and again, John, it's been 30 years since I've seen this movie, but I can remember him finding that meteor and putting his finger on that meteor and touching his tongue or whatever, and it starts covering him. So last night, Kayla and I, before actually I was going to go play video games with Clem. But before I did that, Kayla and I watched the first episode of that. It's the one where it's his father. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, we just started it, and we're gonna finish it tomorrow night. But I love that you brought that one up. That's a deep dive, and because it brings back a ton of memories for me.
I think I've seen that movie more than any other film.
Really?
I've seen it. I've seen it in excess of probably 50 times.
Oh wow!
The only two parts that I can remember are the Stephen King one and the one where they bury the guy at a beach, I feel like, or something like that, or bury up to his head.
But of course, there's the roaches. You remember that?
I don't know if I remember the roaches.
Great, with the monster under the stairs. And of course, Father's Day, which is great too.
It's Father's Day, the one that we just watched. Yeah.
Yeah, George Romero directed that, and man,
no kidding.
I think it's my favorite thing George Romero's ever done. I love Creepshow.
Clint, you'd really appreciate it because it's based off. I mean, it's based off a comic, right?
I think I've seen it. I've seen this back in the day. So, and actually, when you start describing some of this, I think I've seen this. It's just probably been 20 years. So, but I'll have to go back and watch that again.
Yeah, this list is kind of like movies that I can see over and over again. They're just like my favorite. And of course, 1982, I got to put The Thing on there, which is
I knew The Thing would be on your list, John.
it probably is my favorite movie. But,
And that's cool. I love that. I love everything about that. I mean, it's not, again, I appreciate it. It's a great movie. I don't love it. It's not one that I'm going to watch over and over again, but it's super cool. Like, it's a very cool movie. I think the poster is one of the most iconic posters of all time. But yeah,
I think the thing is fantastic. Now those are my top 5. All right.
Okay.
And then
Yep.
I have a secondary top 5.
All right. Let's get it.
5 more. Okay. So I'm going to go back to 1974 with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay. Naturally. Yeah.
Original. Now I cannot. Whoever put heart meters on people did not put them on people and sat them down in front of Chainsaw Massacre. I guarantee it. There is something so grimy and just almost like a documentary feeling about that. It feels so raw and so real. It's the later ones, they had that like Hollywood sheen, the Hollywood look, right? Because that's the way you really make movies in Hollywood. Just the way they look, right? But that one is just brutal, right?
Yeah.
And it feels dangerous, and it feels hot, and it feels sticky, and I mean, it's just so I saw that probably when I was too young.
Yeah.
But I think it's great. I think
that's
it's
probably
scary.
That's probably the first movie to be that brutal at that time, right? I mean, like for a major motion picture, anyway, right?
In America, it really caused. It really caused a stir for sure. Because people are always trying to push that envelope. These days there is no envelope basically.
No.
But Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Then in 1981, and you guys, I know you're going to say, it's American Werewolf in London.
Wow.
Yes. So I haven't seen that one again since I was a kid. But I actually planned on watching it this weekend. I want to watch what's the Marvel one? Werewolf by Night, and then watch American Werewolf in London.
I don't know if that's any good. I don't know if that's a horror thing or action adventure. I don't know what that thing is.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a quick watch. It's only like an hour, and it's black and white. Looks like it'd be great to just chill out and watch for a quick.
All right. Check it out.
Thriller type of movie is what I'm picturing.
That's easily my favorite werewolf movie. It's just
Chad's is Twilight.
Oh yeah, Twilight. Great choice. Great.
Honestly, here's the thing. I hated the Twilight movies, but if we're going to talk about that, one of the movies that I would put on that list as far as werewolves and vampires, Underworld. I loved Underworld so much because that was like the sexy vampire werewolf thing, but it had some grit to it. It was great. I love those movies. Kind of a superhero horror. I don't know. It was awesome.
It's hard for me to classify something like that as a horror movie. It feels more like an action kind of,
Oh yeah, I agree.
It's cool though. It's got a cool look. That guy, I think his name's Lynn Weissman's the director, and he was actually married to Kate Beckinsale during
Oh wow,
good for him.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah.
So he talked her into wearing that suit because that's iconic. That's iconic suit.
Well, when I first saw that scene where she jumped down off the building right at the beginning and just started walking right away, I don't know what about it, but I'm like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. That just jumping down and just immediately starting walking. I'm like, she made that look so cool.
Yeah, it's well done. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
In 1985, Stuart Gordon directed a little movie based on H.P. Lovecraft book, and it's called Reanimator. I don't know if you're familiar with Reanimator.
I've heard of Reanimator. I don't think I've ever watched it, but I've definitely heard of it.
Reanimator is really good. I like it a lot. I love I'm a sucker for H.P. Lovecraft, that kind of mythology stuff, and Reanimator is really good. Now here's one you probably didn't know would be on the list: Jacob's Ladder from 1990.
Wow.
Familiar with Jacob's Ladder?
I don't. I know that name, but I mean, I don't know if I know the movie at all.
Oh, it's really good. You would like it. You would really like Jacob's Ladder. Absolutely,
okay.
You would like it. Yeah. And then rounding out my 10, this was hard picking 10. I'll just tell you this, guys. I had a hard time with this.
Yes.
Rounding out my 10 is The Devil's Rejects, which it's hard to even. Sometimes I don't even think it is a horror movie. I think it's more like a road adventure thing. But it's a horror movie, and I think Rob Zombie. I don't think he'll ever do anything as good as that. I think it's his best work, and just something special happened when he made that. I don't know what it was, but as repulsive as it can be, I just really like that movie.
Yeah, it's on my rewatch list because the first time I watched it, I didn't like it. And it's like I just didn't get it. I guess I was pretty young, and I don't know. But I've seen clips of it again. It's like actually that looks pretty interesting. I'd like to try it again. So it isn't that one like there's a sequel, it's The House of a Thousand Corpses, right?
And I'm not a fan of that one, honestly.
Okay.
To me, that feels kind of like a retread or just kind of I've seen that kind of thing before. But Devil's Reject is different because it really forces you to feel sympathy for these grotesque people. You know, I mean, it's really a trick. It's really a hat trick that he pulled off with that thing. You know, I mean, these people are.
And see, that's something.
But you're on their side.
That's something I missed. yeah. That's something I missed on the first time because I felt myself just like I can't stand these people and I didn't fall in love with the character. So I guess that's something I missed. So maybe that's what I'll probably find it on the second watch. But that time I couldn't stand them.
Just give it a shot. Yeah. And then I have a few that aren't really horror movies, but I think they are horror movies. Alien, I think, is a horror movie. You know,
great movies. Great movies. Plural.
I think Deliverance is a horror movie. You know, have you seen Deliverance?
Yeah.
You know,
Clown. Yep. Only once. Only once.
You know, only once. Yeah. Silence of the Lambs, I think, is a great horror film, and recently Bone Tomahawk. Have you guys seen Bone Tomahawk?
I have. Yeah.
I love Bone Tomahawk. Yeah, that's a great one. That's a real.
It's a horror movie.
That was one where it's like it starts off like a casual Western movie, and next thing you know, it's like, oh my god, how did we get here?
I think it's a horror movie, and I really like it. I think it's
for sure.
I think it's disturbing, and Kurt Russell's great in it. You know, and I don't know, man. I'm a sucker for anything Kurt Russell in it. You know, but so that's kind of
absolutely totally agree.
A lot of those are obvious ones, you know, but you know, I really had a hard time with this because I started looking up lists, and I could have made you know, you can put 50 movies on a list like this, you know.
I'm surprised you didn't have The Exorcist on there, The Blair Witch Project.
I thought about it, and I thought what I like better is Exorcist 3 is my favorite of all of them. And so then I didn't want to have to like Halloween. My favorite Halloween is Halloween 3, and Michael Myers not even in that. But if you're making a list of films, Halloween 3 is not on it. You know? Yeah,
for sure.
I did just watch a you know what would be classified as a horror film this past weekend as I was sitting on the couch for hours. But I watched The Shining for the first time in my life.
Really? Wow.
What'd you think?
Yeah. What I realized is how many references that I've completely not gotten throughout my entire life. Just like how that's rolled into a whole lot of other films or other, you know, comments and things of that nature. So a lot of things started to make a little bit of sense there. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of like edge of your seat, you know, like a thriller type of situation. I enjoyed it. So
it's great. It could easily be on my list too. I just, you know, The Shining.
I'm in the minority. Yeah, I didn't love The Shining. I never have. I read the book recently, and I'm going to try and watch it again. But so like it's called The Shining, but they never really do anything with the shining factor of it. It's like never. So you know what I mean? Like they talk about it at the beginning, and then they never go back to it. Like it's like, oh, I thought this kid was supposed to be the key. You know, he really wasn't. There was just nothing. I don't know. It just kind of. I don't know. I didn't love it, I guess. So I get why people do. My mom's probably my favorite movie, but.
To be fair, he did use The Shining to call Halloran to come and save them at the end, you know. But
okay, so
the book and the movie are completely different. It's not even, it doesn't help to read the book and then watch the movie. They're not,
I watched the movie. Yeah, I watched the movie, then I read the book, and then so I didn't even realize that he used Holleran, because he did it in the book, but I didn't realize he did it in the movie. I forgot all about that part. So
it's a brief scene.
So
yeah,
Yep. Another
Okay.
one more time. Sorry. The movies that aren't really horror movies. Clint hates this movie or didn't like it, but Midsummer. Have you seen Midsummer?
Yeah, I have seen it. And I'm on the fence about it too, honestly. There's some disturbing things in the movie. I mean, there is, and I love the color palette of the thing. I love the way it's shot. And there's nothing really wrong with it, but it's nothing that I want to watch again,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It never got me. I guess it never got me, that wound up to where I'm hearts racing, things of that nature. It never got me to that level, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're right. At the end, maybe a little bit, but yeah.
It might have been the Florence Pugh factor for me because I absolutely love her, but I was wowed the whole time. I guess is my thing. The whole time it's this is incredible. I love that movie. So
yeah.
Hey,
anyway,
we just watched two different movies right there.
Yeah, exactly. Touche. I was the woman at the end of 2012.
Yeah, I mean, Chad, I can't argue with you. There's some disturbing things in it. I mean, there is.
Oh, for sure.
There's some good things to like about it. It just, I don't know, for some reason, it just doesn't hit me as a classic.
Yep.
But who knows? Who knows?
Yep. Everybody's got a different movie palette.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to move into the next segment here, and this is going to be John versus Chad in the horror movie trivia.
Oh, man. All right.
John's going to smoke me in this.
Okay, so this is going to be 10 questions apiece, and I'll alternate asking. Everybody has their own questions here, and whoever has the most correct answers in the end wins. And your award for this is bragging rights until the next time that we play. So,
hey, I'm all about it.
All right. So, John, since you are our guest, I am going to start with the first question with you. Now, we already mentioned this movie here, but who directed the 1973 horror film The Exorcist?
William Friedkin.
That is correct.
See, I am not going to get any of these director questions I'm not.
Well, you're going to get this one. Who directed, Chad, the 1982 horror film The Thing?
John Carpenter.
That is correct.
Okay.
I knew I couldn't give John the Thing question there, I threw that over to you. So
yeah, appreciate it.
So we are tied 1-1. So number 2, John, what is the name of the possessed girl in The Exorcist?
Megan?
Very close.
Okay,
I can think of the actress, but I can't think of the name.
Yeah, it's character name.
Reagan.
Reagan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Reagan.
So
I'll take the L.
Reagan.
Wow. I'll take the L on that. Man.
That's pretty darn close. So way closer than I would have got. So
yeah, I
all right.
Clue, so.
Chad, what is the name of the demon in the 2013 film The Conjuring?
Are you seriously the guy that I kept saying, the red guy? So it's not the red guy? I'm asking for hints here, and I shouldn't do that. The demon in The Conjuring.
Yep. This is like the main one they were fighting.
Oh, the Annabelle?
Annabelle was the doll.
Doll, yeah, but I don't remember who it was. All
right. We're going to give you the L on that, but it's Bathsheba. Bathsheba Sherman, I think, was her name.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't gonna get that.
All right,
would've guessed.
John, number 3.
Would you got that one?
No, I would have guessed Annabelle, same as you.
Oh yeah. See, Annabelle's the only person I could think of. I figured that wasn't what he's looking for, but
All right, number 3. Who is the author of the 1974 horror novel Jaws, which inspired the film?
I think
this
it's
is for John, right?
Robert. I think it's Robert Bentley. Is it Robert Bentley? It's Bentley. Or is it Richard Bentley?
You got the last name right.
Yeah, I know his last name.
So
But what is it? Freaking Ronald?
I'm giving it to him because he's got
Yeah.
the last name. So Peter
It's incredible
Bentley.
he came up
So
Peter, I would have gotten it eventually. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. Yeah, I've read a couple books.
Was it
of
Peter
his,
Bentley?
yeah.
Is that what you said?
Peter Bentley. Yeah. I'm like,
All right.
Robert.
I'm hoping the answer to this one is Stephen King.
all right, Chad. What 1982 horror film directed by Tobe Hooper was written and produced by Steven Spielberg?
1982.
Hooper? Tobe Hooper. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Tobe Hooper, but you said it was 1982 horror film.
Yep, was written and produced by Steven Spielberg.
I feel like that was I feel like John just gave this one away a little bit ago. He went through it and he listed off the years, and I feel like if I could just go back to that list and recreate those years, I might be able to come up with this one. But I'm drawing a blank. 1982, Steven Spielberg, horror film, 1982. I'm just Jaws, I guess again, but I have no clue. It's a bad guess. I'm sorry.
Not directed by Spielberg.
Can I go for the steal?
For the steal. For the steal.
It's Poltergeist.
Poltergeist.
Man,
that is correct.
Is it really Poltergeist? Oh, I should have known that. Oh no.
Yeah, actually,
That
Spielberg
has
would
Steven Spielberg
All
all
right.
over it.
Spielberg would have directed it himself, but he was tied up with E.T. and the studio wouldn't let him do it for another studio. But you can totally tell.
Man.
You can totally tell Spielberg directed Poltergeist. Okay, you can totally tell.
That's what I'm saying. Like once under that lens, it's like obviously that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks nothing like a Tobe Hooper film.
Yeah, Tobe Hooper.
All right. Number 4, John. What is the name of the isolated hotel in Stephen King's The Shining?
I want to say it is the Overlook.
That's right.
That is correct.
Thought I was going to get a
Right.
steal there. You hesitated, John. I thought I was going to have a moment.
That's for dramatic effect.
All right.
Touche.
All right, Chad. Number 4 for you. What is the name of the main antagonist in the movie Hellraiser?
Pinhead.
That is correct. All right. The next one. John, what is the name of the infamous... Man, I got you like doubled up on motels and hotels here. What is the name of the infamous motel in Psycho?
Oh gosh, man, I should know that. I love Psycho. I guess it's just the Bates Motel.
Bates Motel. Yeah. That is correct.
Yep, I wouldn't even came up with that. And as soon as you said it, it's like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It might have been something a little bit more grander, but I guess not. It's the Bates Motel. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, now, John, you may regret going through your list and giving out years because, unfortunately, this is going to play in Chad's favor here. But in what year was the original Halloween movie released?
I want to think for a second. 1978.
That is correct.
All right, I was gonna say, I'm like,
he was gonna steal that one for sure. So
would.
Sticking with the 1978 theme here, what 1978 horror film was directed by George A. Romero and features zombies?
Which one was in 78? That would have been Dawn of the Dead. 1978.
Dawn of the Dead. That is correct.
Yeah. Day of the Dead was like 82 or 83 or something. Day of the Dead was. Okay. Yeah.
All right, Chad. Which horror film is about a cursed videotape that kills viewers 7 days after watching it?
The Ring.
That is correct.
I just watched Red,
All right.
and I thought that's where we were going on this one, but
That's good too.
What is the name of the camp in the 1980 film Friday the 13th?
Was this list written by kindergartners? What?
I know, right? I'm like, come on, flips table.
It's Crystal.
That is correct. I mean, to be fair, neither one of you are perfect. So
That's true. That's
you
true.
know. All right, Chad. Who directed the 2006 horror film Pan's Labyrinth?
Guillermo del Toro. Guillermo del Toro.
That is correct.
Man, it's terrible pronunciation, but that guy.
That's all right. He gave
All
me
right,
Peter
John.
eventually.
Yeah.
Touche.
It works.
Well, I think it was probably Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Or, nope, Scream.
That is correct. Scream.
Yeah.
Good call on the New Nightmare, though.
Yeah, because they're roughly the same time, you know? Because I'd actually never seen New Nightmare, so I'm just assuming that it was something, but Scream is actually the one. Yeah.
Now, Chad, this one actually is a 3-parter, and you got to get all 3 to get this. So,
Okay.
And if you get 2 and John gets the last one, he's going to take it for the steal. I mean, I don't write the rules. Actually, I do write the rules, but anyway, in the 1984 film Gremlins, what are the 3 rules for taking care of a mogwai?
Don't get them wet. Don't feed them after midnight, and don't take them out in the sun.
I'll give that to you. Yeah, no bright light, don't get them wet, and never feed them after midnight. So correct.
Cool.
All right, John, getting down to the end here. We only got a couple more. So this one, who directed the 2018 horror film Hereditary?
Ari Aster?
That is correct.
Wow.
All right.
Nice job, John.
Thank you.
With Chad's reaction, he wouldn't have stolen that one.
I would not have stolen that one. And I'm thinking, I can come up with this. Then he says, no, I would not have come up with that. I think I've gotten lucky on the questions that I've had that I've come this close.
You know, you guys talk about a kindergartner writing these. I wouldn't have got like any of these right. So, all right, Chad, number 9. In which film does actress Mia Farrow play a pregnant woman who becomes paranoid about her unborn child?
Rosemary's Baby.
Man, that is correct. I thought you'd get stumped on that one.
That's
All right,
classic.
we're at the end here.
Yep.
That is. I've actually seen that one. That was on the
Movie list.
poster there. So
Yeah.
All right. John, your last question here of the podcast is, in 2002 film, 28 Days Later, what causes the outbreak of a deadly virus? What's the cause?
Oh, that is, how do I put this? Well, it's called a rage virus, and it was animal rights activists breaking out chimpanzees out of a research facility who were infected with the rage virus. Is that good enough?
That is correct.
Nice job, John.
Great.
That's also
that's
an incredibly underrated zombie movie.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Yeah.
That's actually that one. Wasn't it that one where they're looking up and a drop of blood goes into the guy's eye and infects him?
Yeah.
Yep, and I can't think of that guy's name. John probably knows it.
Yeah, that guy's good.
I love
but
that
he's also
series.
in Bruce.
Yeah, I can't remember his name right now, but that was such a great
Yeah.
scene when his daughter says, "Dad, are you okay?" He goes, "I love you very much."
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
he knows. You know. Yeah, it's
Yep.
it's a great movie. Great movie. Shot on mini DV, digital video. Just
Oh wow!
On what now?
you don't remember mini DV? It wasn't even HD. It was mini DV
Mini-
tapes. Do you remember that? Yeah,
I
it was shot.
don't remember that.
I think
It was
those are
shot
when there's the camcorder tapes.
Yeah, they were. They're camcorder tapes. It was shot on camcorders.
Yeah, yeah.
And then bumped up to film, and that's what gives it that extremely like worn out, that weird look, because it was shot on just not even HD, just shot on standard definition video, and then bumped up to film, and it's got a really weird. But I love it. A grimy. I keep saying grimy, but that's what I like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do. I agree. I get it, man.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's another. I think it's beautiful. I think that everything about it, all the differences in like the humanity factors of it. You've got the soldiers and the people. There's good and bad people all across the movie. I love that one. 28 weeks. Later,
I feel like
too.
without that series though, Walking Dead never happens. Like that to me was like that's what started that. That kind of that kind of. It's just where that's
George.
Like the same
George
thing, like
Romero
him waking up in a
word,
hospital.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of zombie tropes that you see over and over again, but I just happen to think that movie, 28 Days Later, is just a very like ferocious, fast moving, and it does ask the same questions that all. Basically, zombie movies are about us, right? What would we do? How would we react? The society world after, right? And 28 Days Later, the same thing when they, the soldiers finally get the people at the end, and he basically tells those women, he said, "Hey, I told my men I'd get them women, and here they are." And that's, and you're right, because that kind of thing probably would happen, So
Very. What's the book? I can't even think what it's called, but when they're all stranded on the island, doesn't matter. But when they all go feral basically in no time.
Lord of the Flies.
Yeah. Lord of the Flies. Yeah, man.
There you go.
Can't believe I couldn't remember that one, but I probably lost.
Well, Chad,
point right there.
Your last question. It's all for naught at this point. John's already won. But what 1990 horror film features a group of documentary filmmakers lost in the woods?
Oh, Blair Witch Project.
That is correct.
I feel like
Now,
you could have gave
with
me something
that,
at the end there to like redeem myself, and maybe it's a tough one that But
well, I mean, you
it's
already
fine.
lost, so you didn't need any harder than what you already had. So, I mean,
yeah, my
John,
wife's not going to let me come in the house now, so just
John may have
Mike.
missed one. Now he only missed it by one letter because he said Megan instead of Reagan here. So I mean, really, and then he stole one from you. So I mean, I'm considering that a perfect 10 from John,
Right.
and you're only
Right.
sitting here with 8. So
Yeah.
you need to go back to kindergarten apparently.
All right,
So
it's been humbling. Yeah.
I'm just old. Yeah. But
what I've learned on this. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say if you guys had any other movies that you really liked that weren't on any of these lists. I know we've mentioned a few. Chad just said Wreck, right? Is that what you said earlier, Wreck?
Yeah. Yep. Wreck is one that I watched recently. I really like that one.
Yeah.
I tell you what, there's a few that are on my list that I'd really like to see. I can't even think of what a lot of them. But have you heard like The Platform? I know there's great.
Man, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's Train to Busan? You want to talk about an awesome zombie movie? I loved that movie. That was thrilling, I guess.
Yeah. A lot of action in that one. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. There's a lot of action, a lot of excitement. That was a fun one. Another one that could be on a horror list, but maybe not. Sevens. I think Sevens is a dang near perfect movie. It's tough to watch. That's a horror, but it's not like your typical style. There's that movie is very powerful.
That was
Where
almost
does like something like The Hills Have Eyes land?
I can't even watch those.
Yeah, I mean, that original one was directed by Wes Craven, and I don't think it's a great movie. The original, I just don't. I don't know. I just don't think it's that great. You know, I kind of put it up there with
some of those just get hard to watch.
Yeah, like Last House on the Left, or I Spit on Your Grave, or that kind of little sub genre in the '70s where things were getting pretty brutal there for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Spit on Your Grave is atrocious, man.
Yeah,
I'm out on all those.
That's a hard one. Yeah. I mean, even with the revenge factor, it's still hard to watch. You got to sit through all that just to get to that, and it's not.
Correct. The revenge doesn't do it for me.
Yeah,
well, so you got to sit. You got to, like your point. You got to sit through like the worst of the worst to get to the redemption aspect, and it's like I don't want to be drugged through all of that. Is the problem? You just don't feel good.
Yeah, but some people.
Well, I tell you what I learned out of this was that I need to step it up. With a little harder questions next time, so duly noted.
For John, not for me. They were fine for me.
right up your alley. So I need to step them up a little bit. But John, I tell you what, after having a discussion here, I mean, we talked a little bit about what you have going on with a few of your projects here. But what else you got cooking?
Well, I think we've got several films in post-production right now. Torture the Flesh, which is, I guess, it'd be a horror movie. There's a lot of gore in it, and it's in post-production now. I was the director of photography on that. The director was Derek Brash, and it was the first film that I've done where I had that level of prosthetics, and practical effects.
Wow.
And I can't tell you everything about it, but man, there's some brutal stuff in there. So, I felt icky. I felt icky shooting it, so I know it's going to work. It's going to be good. But the Dream Ledger, I'm really excited about that. And The Empty Church, which we just wrapped on, I'm really excited about that too. So I think I'm going to I don't really think I'm getting involved in any other productions. I'm just going to hole up for the winter and just try to wrap all these up that I've already got on my plate. But next year's a new year. I might do 2 or 3 films next year. Who knows? So we'll see.
Now I'm gonna. I don't know how much you can or want to talk about it, but I'm going to ask it. But how much has like the whole writers' strike and all of that impacted any of your trying to get these things through post, or even looking at future projects at that point?
Well, not post, but it did impact the last film I did, The Empty Church. We ran some numbers, and we really could not. SAG was going to let us do the film because of the budget level. But a lot of the actors we had cast just weren't comfortable with it. So we lost about 3 or 4 actors, and we had to recast.
Oh, wow.
Some actors don't care. They're SAG actors, and they just, they'll take the hit if they need to. But you always have to leave it up to the actor, because you as the filmmaker, it's not like you're going to get in trouble with SAG. The actor might get in trouble with SAG. So you really have to leave the decision up to them. And if they're not comfortable with it, just tell them, well, then maybe this is not the right project, So I did lose cast members, but I'm happy with the people that we did end up casting. So it all went well. So that's the only thing that really, changed for me, is that I did lose some cast, but it was fine.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just kind of curious on that. I mean, I figured that has to have some sort of an impact. I mean, especially just with the size of crews that you're talking with. I mean, you talk about a few of them dropping out, and that's not surprising to hear. So,
yeah, no, it's the strike thing is. I'm kind of I take a whatever approach to it. I mean, whenever they figure it out, that's fine. It doesn't really affect me that much. I've had the chance to join unions, and I'm just not interested. I could probably be in the PGA if I wanted, and I could probably be in the WGA, but I'm just not interested. So I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. How about your podcast? You still firing that off? You still doing some of those?
It did. I have not been doing a whole lot of them because of my production schedule, but I'm now starting to book guests again. So hopefully you guys will come back on that show, and we'll do something fun. I'll come up with something. like this, 10 questions about horror for Clint. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
1947 film with,
If you're asking me questions about horror, they better be written in crayon and at like a preschooler level. So,
yeah, no, it's funny, but yeah, that's really what I'm up to right now. I'm just the podcast is hard. You guys seem to really stick with. You guys carry on, and I find it difficult to work the podcast in to everything else. It's just difficult.
We took a year hiatus though, so we got kind of to that point where it was a lot, and of course when you're just got everything else in life going on, it's tough to take the time to do all these things. But we're trying to get back on the saddle and trying to get fired back up again. So
Great.
We're trying to work out this thing where we're doing in different houses, so we can kind of make it a little bit easier to just I go out to the pool house here and we just record one and we're good to go, as opposed to having to make a trip to plan something out to go to Clint's house or vice versa or something like that. So trying to make it more easy.
Yeah, but that's tough. But I had a really good time with this. I mean, I did not. Although I think that I did see that list that you read at the top of the show, but I did not read it. I was aware of it. But when I hear science says, I'm like, science. That's it. The three of us could probably do a better. We could do the exact same thing, and we could be scientists.
John, that'd be a fun one to make our list of the scariest movies of all time. I'd be up for that. Make a list that we vote on or something like that to really, I'd be up for that.
And you'd really have
the
to.
movie
I'm just gonna sit in the corner and cry the entire time. I'm just not a horror film man. Just not a fan of it. So
yeah,
but it's spooky season, so we're all horror films now. But are all horror fans now.
I watch horror movies in October, but most of the time I don't. However, I will turn you on to a film that I just watched that is really good. It's one of the newer ones, and it's called Smile.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've actually watched it. Yeah.
I'm really impressed with Smile. I was really impressed by it. I liked it a lot.
I actually enjoyed that one. That one I watched. So Chad, that was last year. I think he told me to watch two of them, which was Barbarian and Smile, and I watched both of them. I think like within like a week of them, and I actually enjoyed that style. That style of film, I definitely enjoy.
Yeah. Here's another one for your list. That is Talk to Me.
Yeah, that's
Talk to Me's good, man. That's a good horror movie.
Yeah. If I didn't have this with you guys tonight, I'd be watching that tonight. Because that is on my list. So
yeah,
you watch it this weekend.
You should. It's awesome. Like it's exciting.
Well, I watched Don't Look Away last night, which you may have seen the trailers for, with that mannequin that keeps appearing and disappearing. It's a little bit more obscure, so I can't really recommend it that much, but I did watch it. And I watched Pet Sematary Bloodlines the other night too. I'm trying to catch up on a bunch of horror stuff that I haven't seen, and it was decent. But,
Same.
But they're just not.
I'm going to watch the old Pet Sematary again.
That's good, man. That first Pet Sematary is a good movie.
Really good. And again, I just read the book, so now I want to watch the movie again after I've read the book and see how it holds up. To me, it seems like it's going to be pretty much the exact same plot.
It's a good adaptation. Yeah, it's a good adaptation. Yeah.
Good.
Cool, guys.
Well, John, I just want to say, thank you for taking time and jumping back on our podcast here. We've always had a blast talking with you, and you're talking about getting your podcast fired back up. We would love to jump back on as guest again there, and hopefully you'll come back on and be join us again sometime down the road here.
Anytime, guys. Anytime, for sure.
Yeah, John, absolute pleasure. I love having you on here. So good luck in your next films, and we'll catch you on the next one, I guess.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Well, hey, We had a great conversation with John there. It's always great to catch back up with him, hear about all the projects he's working on, and always fun going through different trivias and things of that nature.
Yeah, John is solid gold. I love talking to John. I wish we could have him on here every week. So,
totally agree. I mean, it's just good to get somebody's perspective. Like I loved him talking about like watching a movie differently, when you're, in the business. And I think it's just really cool to get his perspective on things. So
exactly, because it's not like I feel like it's just more valid. Everything that he says, the way he sees things is just, I don't know, it's more valid, I guess. I don't know how else to say it, but it's just a different lens, cool. Man. Yeah, exactly. And I love it. I love hearing that sort of thing. Love talking to the guy. And again, he fits in with us because not only that, but he's another one of those guys that just likes movies and likes to talk about movies. And that's what we did tonight. And I had a blast with it.
Absolutely. Well, hey, with that, the credits are rolling.
The lights are coming on.
And that's the end of the show.